From a little carry on. One more time, I will go this way. Proud to tell it, proud to tell it. Yeah, I was born this way. Proud to tell it, proud to tell it. Yeah, I was born this way. Run it down it, tell the world about it. Hey, yeah, yeah, hey, hey, hey. Born this way.
used to hold me, you used to feel me, you used to kiss me, you used to touch me, you used to please me, you used to squeeze me, you used to love me, you used to touch me. Now, honey, let me tell you something about my man. You know he's a good-looking, sweet little thing. That man knows how to satisfy a woman. You know what I'm talking about? Girlfriend, let me tell you, he bought me this fur coat, a brand new car, and this 24-karat gold diamond ring. Ain't it pretty? Girlfriend, you know how it is when you got a good man. You start doing things like wearing those high-heel shoes and the lace stockings with the garter belt and putting on that sweet-smelling, seductive perfume. But you know what? I'm gonna have to put some lame brain in check, honey, cause she got her mark on my man. But baby, I ain't giving up on this here good thing, not for nobody. Cause what that dorky chick got wouldn't satisfy a cheese stick, let alone my baby. She better take her big long head butt and move on, cause he's mine, all mine. Move on, all mine.
for love. Break. For love. Baby, don't you worry. I want to be the man that you want me to be. There's no need to worry. I'm gonna give you love the way you want it to be. I'll be there every morning, baby, to hold you tight. And that's why, baby, you don't have to wonder why I love you. I need you, got to have you. I need you right now. Break. For love. Break. For love. I'll be there every night to hold you and kiss you till the morning light. I'll be there every morning, baby, to hold you tight. And that's why, baby, you don't have to wonder why I love you. I need you, got to have you. I need you right now.
somebody else's God. That day in September, I'm sure you can remember. That's when all the stuff hit the fan. You told me a lie, and you didn't have an alibi. But baby, yet I still cared. You know I felt your soul, baby, that I can't let you go. No, no, you are the one who makes me feel so real. Ooh, what am I supposed to do when I'm hooked on you and realize that you're somebody else's guy? Somebody else's guy. Take a look around at all the people. Everyone is trying hard to compete. If they only took the time to look a little deeper, they'll find, I'll find, you'll find that beauty is skin deep. It's not what you wear, it's just who you are. And if we're going far, then let's move it. People need to be true to themselves. When will we stop hating and learn to love one another? Mama said, don't judge a book by its cover, 'cause soon you will discover it's a natural, like a love. See, we need, oh, we need, that we need. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Is it what we need? 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 Deep inside, Whitney.